Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dhura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dhura Hamare. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakrajundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dhura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dhura Hamare. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvigyam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. 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 Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online Satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means community of truth. We could say spiritual community too. Wherever two or more people come together who are on the path of awakening and transformation of consciousness, we have a Satsang. And we receive much strength, all of us, by coming together and sharing our journeys like this, sharing the collective presence that is generated when awakened beings come together. We share throughout the webcast a gift we call the Flowering Heart Blessing, which the Divine showed us 8 years ago. It's been around forever, of course. The Sanskrit name would be Hridaya Vikasa Diksha, which means Flowering Heart Blessing. So, that's what we call it. And the Divine said there are certain distinctions about this new to us form of blessing that we were invited to begin to share 8 years ago. The Divine said, first of all, this blessing is not filtered through an avatar or a master or a saint or a spiritual hierarchy or organization. It comes directly from divine source. It's a gift of grace, the Divine told us, which means no one has to pay anything for it. It's a free gift of unconditional love. And so the Divine said, give it to people, let them know it's coming from me, not from you, and that it's a free gift. And if you want to begin to share it with others, then once you've received one Flowering Heart Blessing, the Divine said, you are initiated and activated to begin to share with others. Just invite me to pour the blessing through you. And the rest, the Divine does it. So we've been doing it ever since and just been seeing wonderful things for the last 8 years. The focus of the Flowering Heart Blessing, along with many blessings that are being shared today, many beautiful forms of blessing, this one focuses on the Divine indwelling the center of your being, in the center of your spiritual heart, to activate and open your sense of connection with the divine source within you. When that connection is activated and open, it begins to flower. I like to say it begins to shine like a supernova star through all the layers of your being, your spiritual layers, the innermost layers of your being. It brings enlightenment and awakening, light. The next layer would be your the mental and emotional layer, where all the programming and all the emotional charges and all the wrong thinking is, and this light will clear the soulish planes and inspire divinely given thoughts and ideas, feelings, emotions, and it'll radiate further out through your physical body, bringing about physical transformation and healing out into your relationships to set them in order and bring healing to your relationships, and then through your whole life into the world to bring awakening energies to all the people around you. Awakened consciousness is infinitely more powerful than illusory consciousness, the state that most people are in. Until we're awakened, we live in a perception of duality, that we're separate somehow from Source, separate from each other, hence all the ego games and the fear and all that goes on leading to wars. And that's rooted in an illusion generated by the mind. There is no separate existence. When we begin to awaken, we begin to realize and experience our oneness with the Divine, our oneness with each other, our oneness with all that is. That's what awakening is. It's awakening from the bad dream of separation and duality into the reality of the oneness of all that is. And this is not a mental or philosophical or religious concept. It is a transformed state of consciousness where we are actually living in a world of unity. And that's what the world needs. We're experiencing all this war and all the problems with the environment because humanity's living in a state of separation that leads to competition, conflict, and violence. Once we begin to awaken to the essential oneness of all things, cooperation, harmony, and peace takes the place of competition, conflict, and violence. And that's the new earth that we're in the process of birthing. Granted, birthing, I'm a guy, but I hear that's not always pleasant, giving birth. So we're going through birth pains on this planet right now that are very intense. And it's people like you who are consenting to the journey of awakening, who are doing the inner work, that are pushing the collective consciousness, one awakened being at a time, to a collective shift in human consciousness. You see, we're not 8 billion separate consciousnesses, we're one consciousness. And so ultimately what needs to happen is not just a bunch of individuals awakening into oneness, but the entire collective consciousness shifting. With each person who becomes awakened, we're inching toward that point, that critical mass, which will tip the collective consciousness of humanity. Can't wait for that day. The fighters will get up and they go, something's different. And they'll look down at their rifles and their blades and they go, ooh, yuck, and just set them down and just start hugging people. Yeah, it's really possible. So thanks for being here tonight. Two things. One is, give us a like or a love if you're on Facebook Live. Give us a thumbs up or a heart or whatever other emoji works for you, other than the angry one. I hope I don't like that one. But that way we can go in at the end and see who dropped in. And during the week, many times more people will tune in and share in this satsang between now and next Monday. Because of the schedule they have, they can't be with us always on Monday nights when we're live. If you're on Vimeo, you need to enter a comment in the chat, which I've opened up, and just say hi and tell us your name. Sunday will be our monthly interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ. We do this once a month, almost always on the last Sunday of the month, unless there's some special event that's coming up. And it's interfaith. Everyone is welcome to come experience the presence of the Cosmic Christ. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You have to, just like one of the first aspects of the divine that I experienced when I was very young was Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara, the first bodhisattva of Buddhism. And it changed my life. I mean, but you've got to experience Kuan Yin, that beautiful, transcendental blue-white light, and that compassion that is so kind and so compassionate. The Cosmic Christ is an aspect of the divine that's without beginning and without end. Many people have a relationship now with Christ consciousness, that sense of oneness in the heart and unconditional love with all that is, without really having a formal connection to the Christian religion per se, for all kinds of great reasons. But there are Sufi sects that have a special relationship with Christ, the followers of Issa, and many of the Sufis. And certainly the Mahayana Buddhists, Tibetan Buddhists, Zen Buddhists, others have this just natural connection with Christ consciousness. So Paramahansa Yogananda and the Self-Realization Fellowship focused a lot on Christ consciousness, and a whole generation, Yogananda said, would awaken at this time together in Christ consciousness, and that would transform the world. Yogananda said that is the return of Christ. You're thinking the wrong way. The second coming isn't at the apocalypse, after Armageddon and all that. The second coming is right now. It's been going on for 2,000 years, and that's when the Cosmic Christ begins to blossom and shine and unfold in the heart of a person who's awakening and transforming. In India, I think that it's a valid parallel to the idea of the Paramatma, which is usually understood as, it means supreme being, Paramatma, but it's usually understood as that supreme being that indwells us at the heart of our Atma within. So anyway, this Sunday, we're having our monthly service. Everybody's welcome, doesn't matter what you believe or don't believe. And the focus this month is going to be on divine healing. Each aspect of the divine has certain qualities. I mentioned how Kuan Yin radiates kindness and compassion and sort of maternal tenderness. The Christ shares that compassion angle with unconditional love and healing. And one of the Christians believe that the cosmic Christ incarnated 2,000 years ago in Jesus of Nazareth. And all he did all the time was just he went around healing multitudes of people with a single word. And he said, if you've seen me, what I'm doing, experience this, you're seeing the work of the transcendent Father. And so we're going to take a beautiful dip in the healing waters. Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. 11. Oops, thank you. 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Facebook Live or on Vimeo. We go about from 11 to 12:30. If you can join us here, Flowering Heart Center is open. People join us live here at the center, but it will be live streamed online for those that can't be here in Clearwater, Florida, and the recording will be up for the foreseeable future. So if you can't do it at all on Sunday, you could tune in, Sunday night, Monday, whenever you have an opportunity. And I think this one will be particularly healing because the healing word and the healing flow of the Holy Spirit is going to be abundantly present and poured out. And so if you have any issues of need for healing, and most of us do, I think this would be a great help to you. And we all have friends who need healing. And by bathing in these teachings and in the anointing of the Holy Spirit for healing, our tools to help our friends and family to heal is greatly enhanced. So if you can come around, please do. What else? That's it. So we open it to questions and answers on the spiritual journey, awakening, God realization, afterlife, past lives, parallel lives, whatever you would like more clarity and understanding about, just ask, type it in the chat, and that moves the divine to pour inspiration through me and Suzanne and through some of you as well, and we all benefit and grow. So listen to that still small voice about what kind of question you might be able to ask. Before I read what you've written, I'm going to read 13 quotes. I do that to give us something to chew on and a little time for some of our questions to come up. This one's kind of interesting. All these lists of quotes I've been sharing each week come from inspiringquotes.com, which is a website that publishes brief articles by various authors and the collection of quotes that these authors have gathered to support their articles. This one tonight is by Paula Bennett. Paula Bennett is a writer based in Brooklyn, New York. She writes a fortnightly newsletter that treasures the mundane called Small Histories. Find her on Instagram at Paula Bennett. Paula is spelled Paula Bennet. Thank you. We appreciate you, Paula. So here's what she says, and this is kind of some interesting information. And the title is, these are 13 quotes about the families we choose. Our family can be one of our strongest support networks. At their best, they are the people we grow alongside, come home to, and celebrate with. Traditionally, we think of family as referring to blood or legal relatives. But our closest relationships aren't always dictated by lineage. A found family is a group of people, often unrelated by blood, but who offer each other the kind of unconditional love and safety we expect from a family. Found or chosen families are ever present in the stories we absorb in popular culture. In Roald Dahl's 1988 book, Matilda, the titular character escapes her abusive family to live with her kind teacher. In FX's 2018 television show Pose, LGBTQ plus people of color come together to form houses that not only compete for ballroom titles, but also function as families, sharing meals and supporting each other in tough moments. Though the origin of the term found family isn't well documented, it's generally agreed that it arose within the LGBTQ plus community. It reaches as far back as the 1860s and the inception of the Harlem Drag Balls. That's a real interesting piece of history if you ever look at it. The Harlem Drag Balls, where queer and transgender people of color gathered together in secret. According to a 2018 report from the Human Rights Campaign, nearly half of all LGBTQ plus youth in the US face rejection from their families of origin, and found families can rise to fill that gap. We've all done this, created our mix and match families, our homemade safety nets, wrote LGBTQ plus author David Levithan in his book, Two Boys Kissing. Beyond the LGBTQ plus community, found families can be important lifelines for everyone, including abuse survivors, immigrants and refugees, those for whom family may be more nuanced and flexible than the conventional concept. Here we've gathered quotes that emphasize the support and comfort of found families, reminding us that our closest relationships are ours to choose. So here are some interesting quotes. The bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but of respect and joy in each other. Richard Bach. Remember Jonathan Livingston Seagull? When push comes to shove, you always know who to turn to. That being a family isn't a social construct, but an instinct. Jodi Picoult. Family isn't something that's supposed to be static or set. It's always evolving, turning into something else. Sarah Dessen. I live in a constellation of intimates, and the shape of us is a family. S. Bear Bergman. A home isn't always the house we live in. It's also the people we choose to surround ourselves with. T.J. Clooney. Many of us learn as children that friendship should never be seen as just as important as family ties. Let me say that again. Many of us learn as children that friendship should never be seen as just as important as family ties. However, friendship is the place in which a great majority of us have our first glimpse of redemptive love and caring community. Bell Hooks. There were times when I needed to find an outlet for me to understand my people and my own journey. And I found that through my chosen family. Michaela J. Rodriguez. It feels like everything that has gone missing in my life, joy and love and laughter and companionship, all flooding back into me at once. This is home. This is what I've been searching for. Marie Lu. Family is anyone who loves you unconditionally. Anonymous. When everything goes to hell, the people who stand by you without flinching, they are your family. Jim Butcher. The sense of family comes from the commitment we make to each other to work through the hard times so we can enjoy the good times. It comes from the love that binds us. That's what makes a family. Zach Walls. Blood does not family make. Those are relatives. Family are those with whom you share your good, bad, and ugly and still love one another in the end. These are the ones you select. Hector Extravaganza. These are the people I consider family. They are the people who have been in my corner cheering me on. They support me and are genuinely happy when good things happen in my career. They are also the people who have been with me when things aren't going well. They're also loving, and I know that I can count on them. Ruben Marquez. That was an interesting journey.
Beautiful.
And this traced the roots of that concept and how it obviously, I think, fulfills a need in the LGBTQ plus. That's a tongue twister community. But as also was pointed out, people have survived abuse by joining together with others in safe family environments. This can be true for many different kinds of people. It's certainly true for people involved deeply in the spiritual journey. Sometimes, I remember I was completely alienated from my family for a time because of the intense spiritual path I chose, felt called to, that they just didn't resonate with or understand. And it's like nobody was talking to me for a while. And it was these other people I discovered who were also on the spiritual journey. Many of them, their families didn't understand. And we formed these bonds that have ever since been my true family. This goes back over 50 years for me. And I'm so grateful for those spiritual communities, of which Satsang is a form of that. Our center, Flowering Heart Center, has sort of been transformed. Unintentionally, it just happened. We were hearing so much about oneness villages and communities 8-10 years ago. People on the path of awakening wanted to get land together and live together. And I, as an old hippie guy, went, I've had enough of communes. No, they can be really cool, but I'm a mystic and I'm a bit of a hermit, contemplative, so I need that space. Well, our kids grew up, they all moved out, all live very close to us, we're very fortunate, but we have this huge structure which was not just for me and Suzanne to live in. We had a whole family living here, but also we've had thousands of people come through processes here. We can seat over 100 people at a time in our temple. And we've done it many times. And we got to this point where things just seemed really quiet here. And here's, especially during the COVID thing, and here's this big empty space, full of the presence. Full of presence. And we went, what are we doing this? We know about the satsang, why we're doing that, and the qigong and Taoist meditation teachings and all that's always gone on, but this big space, it seems like something more should be happening. Well, next thing we knew, we have 4 kids. 2 of them are in their 20s, and through various circumstances in their lives, they ended up moving back in with us for a time. Before that, we had our dear friend George. Some of you know George. He used to bring his 42-foot motorhome and park it in our backyard half of every year. Now he's just leaving it out in Wyoming and driving himself down. But we converted a space and created an apartment with its own door. So part of the house George is living in. Then part of it our son Ale is living in. And part of it our daughter Isabel is living in. And then Ale said, my dream is to buy a school bus and convert it into an RV, and for me and my partner Tess to travel,
To get to the questions.
The world. I know, but so we've got a 28-foot yellow school bus in our back patio right now being worked on and converted. Then another good friend, I won't mention that because that's not out yet, but he is coming with a 36-foot motorhome. And so I realized, wow, and we have somebody living in the garage apartment out back. And I went, wow, this has become, and our friend said, an intentional community. And so suddenly we find ourselves living in a oneness village, that just kind of happened. And these are the people that we have chosen each other to live together and share our lives. So there's more room, we're open. They can all fit on our property. Okay, back to the questions.
Actually, we don't have any more room.
Not for any more RVs at the moment, no. Okay, so Moreya said early on, sending love, and Yogi Bhadrapala said, I received that love, and that got him a like and a love back. And then Yogi writes, I just want to express my deepest gratitude for I truly feel your blessing, transcending all the way to Texas. Today I'm cultivating equanimity towards everything that happens to me and around me, doing my best not to label, judge a situation as bad or good. It's taking a long time to be aware that I am conscious, that I want to be conscious. Recently, someone asked me my opinion about the wars going on, and I responded that I just wanted to be peaceful right where I am. I don't want to take sides or give an opinion. I want to start peace here within myself to express without. Thank you so much for the oneness blessing. Nice. Yeah. I mean, yoga means union. And a yogi is one who gives themselves to that path, that process.
That's just such a beautiful place to be, and so important what you're doing, that work, because that's where we all need to grow, is working on ourselves and seeing when we're judging, when we're criticizing, when we're blaming, when we're putting things in a box, and just assuming that we know how that other person is. The more of us that come to that point where we see in ourselves when we're doing those things that we can work with it after we see it, but we have to be conscious that we're doing that. Mm-hmm. So that's really, really a beautiful process. And you're right, it does take some time. There is quite a learning curve. I'm still catching myself all the time and trying to really just turn that around and look at myself. That's a really, really great process. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. And Linda writes, thank you for explaining all of this, Michael. And she continues, Michael and Suzanne, in light of what you have discussed thus far, I'm aware of realizing when I experience what I perceive to be a type of betrayal or injustice. I still get activated with feelings of of rage, anger, hostility, resentful, etc., and at times even experience homicidal thoughts and feelings. Not that I would act on these things. However, in the past, I used to feel scared of these parts of me. Now I try to embrace and love these parts of myself. Any suggestions? Well, okay.
Michael came up with a really good expression several years ago. It's, why do I assume that is true? Mm-hmm. And so that really helps me when, I see something or I'm interacting with somebody and I'm assuming that they're being a certain way towards me. And it's helpful to just, when you feel that charge come up, to just step back and take a breath and quietly say, why do I assume that's true? Because people are coming from their own charges, and if we're receiving them from our own charges, then it's just going to escalate everything. So it's good to just take a moment and ask for grace and go within and take a breath and ask yourself, why do I assume that's true, what they're saying, or their intention for it too. I usually get really upset when somebody thinks that I'm intending something, like if I trip on their toe or I didn't say hi to them or it wasn't intentional. And so that's one of my triggers, and I have to be aware of that. And when it comes up, I just, why do I assume that's true? Why it was just a miscommunication, and that wasn't my intention.
I reached out to an unnamed friend of mine who's a hermit, contemplative, who lives in hermitage in the mountains. And we've spent time together in the Middle East. We were there with a small group of our little community at the time, at the height of the Intifada in 1987. And it was very difficult. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what happened, but I've been thinking about him so much because we haven't talked. And I reached out to him last night and said, how are you coping? How do you feel? I remember when we were there in 87, and this is off the charts. And what he wrote back, it was very brief, but he said, facts no longer matter. Just pray for peace. It's like, yeah, it's just like in the realm of in lots of things these days, things are so charged. And there are such strong feelings that make people positional. And Yogi pointed right to, I don't want to be there.
Right.
And you don't have to be. Some people, because of where they are and what they're involved in, really have no choice at this moment in time. But we certainly do. And so there's that. It's like, there's no explaining this, facts don't matter anymore. He said, it's just anger. That's the Middle East. It's just all anger. So pray for peace. And we can do that. We can radiate and send peace and blessing and intercede. The other thing that stood out to me was that you said you get activated with feelings of rage, anger, hostility, resentment, homicidal thoughts and feelings. Look, that's not coming from you. We've often taught over the years that there aren't 8 billion minds. There is one ancient mind that we're all participating in. And all the thoughts that have ever existed are in that thought sphere. And it's like an electromagnetic recording in the magnetosphere or something. But these thoughts are part of the collective consciousness of humanity. Any of us could experience unacceptable feelings of rage, anger, homicidal feelings and go, I would never act on that, but we feel somehow defiled that we ever even felt those things. That's where you need to not judge yourself and understand that from the collective consciousness, especially in these times we're in, bizarre feelings and thoughts can come through that are unworthy of us. But we're human. And so we're all connected to that ancient mind. And that's where that stuff's coming from.
It's kind of like somebody explained it to me once, that our brains are like radio receivers, and you can change the channel, but whatever you change it to, it's going to come flowing through. And when we still have a charge or something inside of us that we need to work on, that's when those radio songs that are the thoughts coming through, that's when they stick. So you can learn a lot about yourself by the thoughts that stick, because we have thoughts all the time that just go in and out, and we don't just follow it or chase it. It's usually a good indication that we still have a charge or a program inside of us, and you're doing great trying to love that part of yourself unconditionally, because that's how those charges can get healed.
Indeed. Yep. So More wrote, very intense days, feeling an intensity in the energy that is difficult to transit. This also may pass away. Well, it definitely will. Yeah. But for now, we're bathing in a very intense planetary consciousness, and hopefully we'll respond the right way. I mean, all these tremendous challenges are a challenge to rise up and do what's right, to shine the light, to turn the other cheek, to forgive and work through and work together as family. The whole human race is family.
I find it really helpful to spend as much time out in nature as possible too, because when you're in nature and you're just being in the present moment with nature, it shifts your perspective, because we're so tied into electronics and news and this and that and all the hecticness of life. That's all man-made structures. Mm-hmm. But when you just go out in nature and you see the simplicity and the beauty of it, it's very, very soothing to the soul and helps you to recenter in your heart, so that when you're out in the world, you can spread that calm, that peace, that nature of how we should be, instead of being so tied up in the mind and the electronics and the hecticness of the day. So nature really does it for me.
So Linda wrote, it is nice to hear what is going on in your personal lives. So I wanted to share a little bit of the emerging global village that we're living in here at Flower Heart
on top of that too, he didn't mention our family. Our two older kids are from Uruguay, South America. They came here when they were 15 and 17. They were from my last relationship. And then our other two kids are from my last relationship also, but they're half brothers and sisters. And then I have a grandbaby that's not blood related, but oh my gosh, I love her so much. And then Michael, we got together and we're all just one big family of kind of transplants.
We're a big found family.
A big found family, yeah.
So More writes, we're feeling a density coming from war that reminds me we are all one. Oh, and Yogi wrote, Oneness Village, love it. And More writes, some places and cities don't have nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
You can usually find a park somewhere though. Or even just, put a plant in your window and, or connect with the plant.
Your courtyard patio or your balcony with a couple plants, and
yeah.
Get a cat or a dog or a bird or something. So More wrote, you have a big family. Yeah. We have.
We've got all of you too. I mean, it's a big family.
I mean, yeah. So our family
the whole world is
we've got
family.
A lot of Hispanic energy in our family, and Hispanic families, as those of you who are Hispanic know, are often large and extended.
Yeah.
So ours is like that. And yay, Katarina, yay. You are a beautiful found family for me. And we feel the same about you, Yekaterina, very much. Oh, that's just so sweet. Okay. Well, please close your eyes, open your hearts, and invoke the presence
Thanks for all your sharings. That was really great.
Indeed, very beautiful. The fullness of the divine source dwells within you right now. At the center of your being. And it yearns to enlighten you, to clear your mind field and your emotions and all the false programming, and heal your mortal body and your relationships. It already knows what you need before you can even articulate it. So just open up, let go, and receive the flowering heart blessing. Keep drinking it in. Breathe in the presence. Soak in it and let it permeate your being. There's nothing for you to do but allow it, consent to it, and receive. Presence will continue to work on you as you allow the blessing to flow through you to others. So with your eyes still closed, imagine us sitting in a circle together. Lift up your hands facing forward, your palms open, and let us invite the presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through us. First of all, to each other, to the entire circle. It's flowing through us and working on us as it pours through us, and it's coming back to us through all the others in the circle. Visualize in the center of our circle that beautiful blue planet Gaia Earth. And let us bring our attention especially to the Middle East. Just imagine that your spiritual focus is on the Middle East now, on that globe in front of you. And let us take a strong intention for love and inner peace to flood all the people of the Middle East. us take a strong intent together. The divine love and inner peace will flood the hearts of all human beings on planet Earth, melting away the anger, the fear, the rage, the violence, healing the heart of humanity. Releasing unconditional love and compassion in every human heart and in the heart of all humanity. Shanti, Shanti, which means Om, peace, peace, peace. Now you can relax and rest your hands in your lap and open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as we dive into the open eye light meditation. At this time, Suzanne and I are flooded with divine oceans of grace and light and love. It pours through our being to you, especially through our eyes, the doorways of the soul. So just keep gazing at least one of our eyes. There's nothing for you to do, but just keep looking and receive. The light will stream out of our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of heart, causing the light of awakening and the fires of divine love to burn brighter and brighter and brighter. meditate with us for a few more minutes as the grace of the seeds settles within you. Now keep meditating as long as it feels nice, and or find a place to lie down nearby in Shavasana. Shavasana is the yoga pose where you lie on your back comfortably, with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with the palms open, facing upward, and just let yourself dissolve in the presence with gratitude. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings, and
Oceans of peace to you. Until we cross paths again, know that the divine within us beholds the divine within you. And we bow to you. Namaste.
peace. Namaste.